I bought a house in October of 2024. I put no money down. I paid $1,100 in closing costs, and my interest rate was 4.75%. Let's talk about it. I bought a house using the NACA program. I was fortunate to be able to buy a home. I am single in the sense that I am not married. I do have my green flag boyfriend. I was not making well into the six figures. I actually had just broken into the six figures when I bought my house. Honestly, I just never thought I was going to be able to buy a house as a single woman on a single income. I was proud of myself. My family and friends were proud of me. But I recently joined TikTok about maybe 2 weeks ago, and I posted a video about it. And when I tell you that thing blew up, it blew up. So I'm like, maybe more people are out there who want to buy a house, are in a similar situation as me, not necessarily a woman, just a single individual who wants to buy a home, who is not making $200,000, $500,000, does not have an inheritance, does not have a trust fund, like none of those things. The NACA program was pretty much founded on this principle that they wanted to combat predatory lending. So they do focus on people who are considered low to moderate income. Now, when you hear that, it may sound like, oh, I have to be living below the poverty line. That is not the case. You can be making, like me, six figures and still be eligible for the NACA program. Now, when they say low to moderate income, it's based on the median income in the area that you live in. So for me, I live in Richmond, Virginia. The median income when I was looking for a home was $107,000, if I'm not mistaken. I was making just below that. So I was considered a high priority member, which means that I got to take advantage of the lowest possible interest rate, hence why I have an interest rate of 4.75%. And also, I could choose a house anywhere. Now, if you aren't considered a priority member, that does not mean that you're ineligible to use NACA. It just means that you won't get the lowest interest rate available, but it will still be lower than the national average, and you will have more stipulations about where you can buy a home. But if that is you, feel free to reach out to NACA, ask more questions. And I should probably put this disclaimer out there. I am by no means a NACA spokesperson. I am not paid by NACA. This is just my experience and the things that I've learned. You will probably need to fact check me on everything because, of course, the process changed. Maybe certain terms and conditions may change, but this is just my experience. And I didn't want to gatekeep because, like I said, when I posted this on TikTok, like people were asking so many questions, and I feel like this is not a known program. And so I wanted to share what I know. Now, a lot of people will talk about NACA being so difficult, so tedious, just the longest drawn out process, and how they end up just not pursuing it. NACA is not for the faint of heart. Hear me when I say that. Like, NACA is not for the faint of heart. My process took me a year and 7 months, and partly that was by choice, partly it was by circumstance.
Squirrel.
I started the process in March of 2023. I attended the homebuyers workshop that is mandatory for every NACA person. Even if you are remotely interested in anything that I've said so far, go to NACA.com and sign up for their homebuyers workshop. It is a free workshop. It is about a 4 hour long workshop, and it takes place on a Saturday, I think from like 9 to 1. So don't say I didn't tell you, but it is super informative. So if you are even remotely interested in NACA or remotely interested in buying a house as a first time home buyer, or if you haven't owned a house in the past 5 years, I would definitely recommend attending the workshop. But that workshop is a prerequisite before getting assigned a NACA counselor who can help you through the process and get your application and everything up to speed in order to send it off for qualification. Again, I attended that workshop in March of 2023. I didn't have a meeting with my counselor until August of 2023. Now, that was intentional. That was 100% by choice. I wanted to get my money right. And people have asked me, what did you do during that time? I paid off a lot of my credit card debt. Because let's be honest, your girl likes to shop and she likes to travel. I also focused on just getting all of my paperwork together. So thinking about W-2s, pay slips, all of those things, because whether you're going with NACA or some other program, you are going to need that information. Every lender is going to ask you for that information if you're looking to buy a house. So I wanted to get all that together. I do like to be organized, so that was important to me. Now, if you are already ready and you have that paperwork and stuff together, good for you. I want to be like you when I grow up. Go ahead, attend the workshop, and then get your appointment scheduled with your counselor. So it was by choice that I waited, March, April, May, June, July, August. I waited 5 months to get my appointment with my counselor. Now, hear me when I say that NACA is spread pretty thin. So, even if you attend your workshop, it may be a while before they even have availability to meet with you. So, go ahead and attend that workshop and then schedule your meeting. Even if you aren't ready to buy a house until maybe next year or next couple of years, like just get the ball rolling on these things, because once you get access to your portal and you see all the information that they need, it's going to take a while to get that stuff together. And you rather move at your pace as opposed to having to move at NACA's slower pace. So again, if you are thinking about getting a house either later this year or next year, or like, in the next couple of years, still start the process now, because it could be a lengthy process, but at least you can go at the pace that you want to go. I knew I wasn't that pressed to get a house within, like, say 6 months. Like, I knew I had about a year or so. So I didn't feel rushed at any point between having my first, workshop in March and then having my session with my counselor in August. Now, when I did have that session with my counselor, that lady rushed me. I felt overwhelmed. It was very anxiety inducing for me. She was moving at rapid speed. I mean, it seemed like she had done this before, but I was just kind of all over the place. The meeting was supposed to be scheduled for, I think, about an hour and a half. And she was like, you know what? I can get you done in about 45 minutes. So I'm like, all right, great. Let's get it done in 45 minutes. I wish she would have taken an hour and a half and slowed down to make sure that I understood everything that she was saying. This was my first time ever going through this first time home buyers like process, or anything like buying a house. This was going to be the biggest expense that I've ever had in my life. And I just wish she would have taken more care and time. Now, some counselors do take care and time, some don't. Your counselor will make or break your process, but you don't have to let them make or break your process. So we met a few times, but this lady was flaky. She ghosted me a couple times. We would have meetings scheduled, and all the meetings are scheduled on Zoom, and she wouldn't show up, or she wouldn't send me the link, or whatever. She would have an emergency. And so it got to the point where I was just like, you know what? How about we just communicate via email? So between August and September, we met maybe 3 times, but from September to about December, we just exchanged emails. One of the benefits of that is that you have a paper trail. I like having a paper trail because, you just have things in writing. So if someone says, oh, well, this wasn't said, or you did this, I can be like, nope, here's the email. It's all documented. Fast forward to January of 2024. I finally met with her on the phone. We went through my application. She said everything looked good. She was going to submit my application. I told her, great. I just asked that she let me know what amount she was going to submit it for. She didn't let me know that. I got the text message saying that my application was submitted for about $243,000. At the time, I was looking for multifamilies. Now, let's talk about this. A multifamily home in Richmond, Virginia is gonna cost probably $400,000 to $500,000. I don't know what she thought I was gonna do with $243,000. Mind you, this woman also lived in Richmond, so she knew kind of like the market that I was working with. So that amount wasn't gonna work for me. So I told her I was going to do more to get my debt to income ratio a little bit lower. And the main way to do that is by paying off some of your debts. So I went ahead and paid off some more credit cards. I think I had about $10,000 saved. And so I put that straight towards credit cards. Now, this is one thing that irks me now that didn't irk me then because I just didn't know any different. But I had asked her, I was like, I have this chunk of credit card debt. Should I pay that down, or should I just put money towards savings? And she told me to put the money towards savings. Now, disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor, but my recommendation would be to not do that. Pay off your debt so that your debt to income ratio is better and you can afford more. Like, I don't know why she told me to not pay off my credit card debt. Like, I wish I would have done that sooner as opposed to putting money into savings. Because, mind you, if you have credit card debt and you're paying the minimum, you're probably not even covering your interest at some point. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I put that money towards covering debt. Still had the money saved because NACA will require that you have a minimum amount of funds saved to go towards like closing and to go towards like inspectors and all that stuff. But we'll get there probably in another video. But anyway, come January 27th, I asked her to submit my application again. She was like, okay, great. She again didn't tell me ahead of time what the amount was that she was submitting it for. And let me back up. She doesn't determine the amount, but she could see on her back end how much my affordability is based on all the calculations that their back end does. So that's another thing. When you're on calls with your counselor, Ask them if they could share their screen so that you could see the back end program, because sometimes she was putting in the wrong number and I had to correct her, and that was having an impact on my affordability. But yeah, so she ended up submitting my application on January 27th. Didn't tell me the amount ahead of time. Happened to see it when I got the automated text message. Do you want to know what that amount was for? $211,000. Like, if you clocked it, that's less than what it was for the first time she submitted my application. So at this point, I was hot. I was like, you know what? She's not communicating with me. I don't want to do this. I sent her a very direct email. Like, very direct. I was like, you are not communicating with me. This is my first time going through this process. This is not a pleasant process to go through. You are not keeping me in the loop on certain things. Like, I'm going to take some time to figure out whether or not this process is for me. Sent that email, was over it. She followed up with me the next day, sent me an email, called me, left me a voicemail apologizing, but she said she had thought she was communicating clearly with me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even care at this point. So in February, I looked into other first time homebuyer programs. There were a few in my city. The information they were sharing with me at those workshops was super informative because they would take you through like the process start to finish of home buying. Like they would let you know what you need to do. They would introduce you to like title companies and lenders and things. So it was super informative. The thing is, because of the amount that I was making, I didn't qualify for a lot of the grants. So once like March 2024 came, I was kind of like, you know what? I don't even really know if I want to buy a house anymore. Like, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I was not meant to buy a house on my own. Like, I'm not even dealing with this situation anymore. I'm going to just live my life, have fun, keep shopping, keep traveling, doing all those things. Mind you, I still was saving money though, because I wanted to have the option and not need it rather than need the option of buying a house and not have it. In May, a counselor reached out to me to tell me that she was my new counselor. What happened to the old one? Don't know. At this point, didn't care. I didn't reach out to this lady. I was still over NACA. Fast forward again to August. This is August of 2024. Michael reached out to me. Michael was sent by God. He told me he was my new counselor. Let me pause here. That's two counselors that I've had prior to Michael. NACA has high turnover, so don't be surprised if you get 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 counselors while you're in the program. It is annoying, yes. You will have to explain things over again, yes. You probably will have to submit documents that you've already submitted once again, yes. But keep the goal in mind. The goal is to get a house. And trust me, it is worth it once you get it. But yeah, I told Michael that I had some beef with NACA. Like, NACA just left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't really want to do anything with NACA. And he was totally understanding and asked me if I would hop on a call with him. We hopped on a call. He went through my portal, my NACA portal, where my application and all my information is. He told me some of the things that he thought that I could tweak or change or upload in order to increase my affordability. Michael and I met on August 2nd. On August 14th, he submitted my application and it was for an amount that I was happy with. Let me pause here because not only were interest rates better at this time, but also I had saved up more money. I was also able to pay off more debt in this time. So that's something to be mindful of. In January, when the counselor submitted my application for a second time and it was even lower, part of the reason for that was because rates had gone up. So even though my income was the same and I had paid off a little bit of debt, because rates went up, my affordability went down. So there is benefit to waiting if you're noticing that rates are going up. Maybe you do take a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever, until the rates come back down. Because without you doing anything, your affordability will go up. And that's what happened in my case. So it was a good thing that I did wait. So Michael submitted my application. I think it was for about 350,000, which at that time was perfect for me because I was thinking more of a single family. Also, let me pause here. The difference between single family and multifamily: single family is a home that is for a single family or just like a person. Whereas a multifamily means that there are different units in the home. So you could have like a duplex where maybe you live upstairs, someone else lives downstairs. You could have a tri or a quad. Honestly, if I wasn't where I am in my life right now, where I'm looking to settle down, I would have definitely gone for a multifamily because that can be used as another stream of income. Where if you are living in your, say, top floor of your duplex, but you're renting out the downstairs, that person is helping you pay off your mortgage. You're going to be able to pay off your mortgage probably a little bit quicker. And then after it's paid off, you're still going to be renting out that bottom unit. So then it turns into a stream of income. And imagine if you have a quad and you're renting out 3 other units, like that is a huge play. Anyway, if I wasn't where I am now in my life, I definitely would have gone for a multifamily. So if you are younger, if you're maybe in your early 20s, if you are not looking to settle down anytime soon, I would definitely encourage you to look into a multifamily. Whether you go with NACA or not, I think it's a good business decision, but I think it's also a good decision when it comes to establishing generational wealth. So let me get back to the story. Michael submitted my application for 350,000, which was perfect for me as I was looking for a single family. And he got that in and it was approved on August 15th of 2024. Shortly after it was approved, a NACA realtor reached out to me. Now, people will often ask me, should you go with a NACA realtor or should you go with someone outside of NACA? Even if you go with someone outside of NACA, they will still have to go through the NACA training for realtors in order to represent you if you're in the NACA program. I would suggest going with a NACA realtor. But a key question to ask is, do they also work with people who aren't in the NACA program? I have a friend who worked with a NACA realtor and she asked her if she worked with people outside of NACA as well. And she did. And it worked out because my friend was so fed up with NACA that she decided not to go through the program. And it worked out for her because she got a $10,000 grant from the seller and 10,000 from the builder. So she didn't have to pay money down on her house and a bunch of her closing costs were covered. So that worked out for her. So that's why I would suggest going with the NACA realtor. Even if you aren't sure if you want to go with the NACA process, like find someone who can do both. So I met with my realtor. I told her what I was looking for in a house. And this is something that I would advise to anyone, whether you're going with NACA or someone other lender. Like look at Zillow, look at houses in the areas that you're interested in, see what you can get and see what you like and don't like in the houses that are available that are within your budget. So, do you want a 3 bed, 3 bath? Do you want a 2 bed, 1 bath? Do you want a 4 bed, 3 bath? Like, there are so many options. Do you need space for an office? Do you need a garage? Do you need a big backyard with a fence because you have a dog and you want them to run around? Like, take these things into consideration and make a list because what you don't want is to fall in love with the house because you like the idea of it, but it doesn't actually check the boxes that you needed to check. Also, I would say think in advance. Like think what you're going to need in a couple of years because this house is going to be a long-term purchase for you. So you don't want to buy a house that will suit your needs for maybe the next year or two. Think 5, 10 years down the line. For me, yes, I'm a single woman right now. I do have my green flag boyfriend. We do plan on getting married and having kids one day, and he will move into this house. Not because he doesn't have a house of his own. He has a duplex, and we figure we'll use that for another stream of income. Hence, what I said earlier, a multifamily is a great play. We both work at home, so we would need space for an office. We would like to have space for maybe an at-home gym, so that's what we will use the garage for. We need multiple bedrooms because we want to have multiple kids. Having a yard was important to us. So, like, there's all these things that are important. And also, that would be another thing that I would suggest too. Like, when you go to look at houses, take the people or person who will potentially live in the house with you along with you because you want to get their feedback as well. Like, that's important. You don't want anyone living in the house that they absolutely hate. Like, who has time for that? Back to the story. This is the 10th house that we saw, we being my realtor and I. I had my parents with me just to get a second opinion. I had my boyfriend with me just because I wanted to see what his thoughts are about it. And this is the house that I put an offer in on. I put in an offer on this house on September 1st, 2024. It was accepted on September 6th, 2024. I had 45 days to close, and there was a ton that I needed to do in that time frame. But we finally closed on October 18th, 2024. I purchased my house for $369,000. I did not put any money down. My closing costs out of pocket were $1,100. And this is something else to note. NACA will say that there's no closing. Usually there is closing, but sometimes that's covered through like seller concessions or maybe the deposit that you pay on your house goes towards that. My closing costs amounted to about 10,000, but because I had about 5,000 in seller concessions and because my earnest money deposit was about $3,800, I only had to come out of pocket about $1,100. So, yes, they say no closing costs. Maybe in some circumstances there are no closing costs that you have to come out of pocket for, but maybe they have been tallied in somewhere else. So that's something just to take a mental note of. But again, my interest rate was 4.75%, which was amazing in October of 2024. I don't regret anything about my process. I think everything happens for a reason. Was it a long process? Yes. Was it tedious? Yes. Did I get frustrated? Yes. Did I think that I was not going to buy a house? Yes. But am I grateful for everything that I went through and I'm grateful to have my house? 100% yes. So I would recommend it to anyone. If you do have more questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I am, again, by no means a NACA spokesperson, nor do I know everything about the NACA process. My process was unique to me. Everyone's process will be different. But if there is any insight that I can share with you or any questions that I can answer, please feel free to drop them in the comments or reach out to me.